Greetings. Welcome to tonight's show. I'm your host, Amelia with Aware, arealreallyeducated.com. I want to thank everyone who's joining us tonight. You could be anywhere this evening, but you chose to be here. So I thank you, appreciate you. Much love and gratitude to all who is wanting to empower themselves, get more educated, become more knowledgeable on what's going on with the law, how to assert their rights, and that shows a lot about how persistent, staunchly you are to get your education on, in my opinion. So we're very glad to have you here. I thank the audience as well for joining us. I know we've been getting a lot of great feedback from places like New York, Ohio, Michigan, Canada, Florida, California, New Jersey, Illinois, Alabama, Missouri, Hawaii, Tennessee, Georgia, Ecuador, Spain, Italy, Panama, Costa Rica, Philippines, and the list does go on, guys. This is universal dynamics here when we're discussing about law, although it may be different for many people in different parts of the country, in the world, but just keep in mind that there are constitutional rights, believe it or not, in places where many people would not believe it exists. Okay, so please comment in the chat and let us know where you're listening in from. The chat is made available for the duration of the show and will be open for an additional 15 minutes. So if you have any questions, feel free to ask it, and your question will be responded to in the order which it was received. Okay, let's get into tonight's show. First and foremost, I just want to let you guys know this is going to be a bit different video, audio that you're listening to and watching if you're here on YouTube, for the simple fact that I'm just going to be speaking off of the knowledge and what I know, and there's not going to be anything that you're going to be reading besides 4 slides. And the first slide says, "The power is in your paperwork." Many have heard the saying, "The pen is mightier than the sword." Okay, it's very important that you know what your paperwork means and the case laws being cited, because if you are ever questioned on them, and believe me, they will question you. Okay, the magistrate, judge, administrator, depending on the venue, will test you to see if you know what the case laws being used means, and you must know it. Okay, in the beginning of my journey to acting sous juries in court, I was dealing with some Moors and Bays who were helping me prepare my paperwork. One time, the magistrate asked me what a case law meant, and I didn't know the definition of that case law. I found out afterwards that if I knew what the case law meant, the magistrate would have honored my paperwork. That was a lesson learned there for me, and never again did I not know the case laws used in my documents, even if I didn't prepare it. We advocate this a lot here at Aware, that you must know your paperwork because you have to be able to stand behind it. While our in-house paralegals prepare your paperwork for you, you have to study and know the case laws and what your documents mean. Otherwise, when questioned, you won't be able to answer it accordingly. And what happened to me in court will happen to you, and that will not help your case. Okay? Luckily for me, I was very persistent. I did not let that deter me or make me feel intimidated. All it showed me was that if you're going to play the game, you better know darn well how to play, because they will smoke you and they will get you. If you do not know what you're doing, if you do not know who you are and who you're not, if you do not have confidence, they will, of course, see that, sense it, and really get you. And maybe get you to the point where you'll have to contract with them because they've intimidated you and you didn't know how to stand in honor or even be non-combative. Because I see so many people, because they have paperwork and they feel that the power is in their paperwork, and they know this, but unfortunately, they don't know that them being combative can jeopardize their opportunity of even having any success, because it's going to show that you're not acting in honor, and they're going to have a bigger reason to actually test you. And if you don't know what your paperwork means, the definitions of the laws, and again, maxim of law, ignorance in law is no excuse. Okay, that's a maxim of law. Okay, that reminds me of an old adage that says ignorance is bliss. Ignorance is not bliss, because that can get us in trouble and or hurt us in some way. Just because they have not responded doesn't mean it doesn't work. Oftentimes people immediately think that just because they didn't respond to their paperwork or affidavit, that this process did not work for them. This is not true. You have to follow up with them. You are in default and dishonor. What are you doing? What are you going to do when someone is in dishonor with you or disrespects you? And that's what's happening. Okay? They're in default and they're in dishonor. You are going to stand up to the bully, right? Okay? If someone is in dishonor with you or disrespects you, what are you going to do? Okay, same applies with your paperwork in law. See, so the follow-up is key and very crucial. Anyone can file paperwork, but if you don't follow up with their failure to respond, then you let them win. There's a maxim of law that states silence in law stands as truth. Okay, and he who leaves the battlefield first loses by default. So what does filed and recorded mean? Let's talk about that. Okay, are you aware that there's a difference between filing and recording? Many people don't even know that. Did you record your paperwork with the clerk on the record for special deposit, or did you get it filed only? Filing and recording, there's a difference, guys. So filing begins when the clerk takes physical possession of an instrument, at which point is considered conditionally filed. Okay, so they take your paperwork and they stamp it, talking about filed. Okay, just like in this example here. So the clerk then records the names of the parties to the paperwork in alphabetical order, the date of the paperwork, the nature of the paperwork, and that time that the paperwork was filed. The clerk must provide the filer with a receipt containing this information. So the clerk maintains physical possession of the paperwork. Recording. So when you're doing a recording, you're recording an instrument, you're recording your paperwork. On the other hand, involves recording the contents of the filed paperwork and any acknowledgement, proof, affidavit, or certificate attached to it. So recording comes after filing. So the paperwork can be copied or scanned, then placed in a suitable storage medium. For paper records, this has traditionally been a well-bound book. The clerk then certifies the documents with signature and seal. Then finally, the clerk must index all recorded um, documents. Okay, so generally, the clerk then returns the original documents and a copy of the clerk's certification to the filer. So for some paperwork, some documents, the clerk keeps the original document instead of a copy as well. So just good to know this as well for you guys. So there's a difference when you file and then you have recorded. So these are some examples here of the difference and how it looks. You don't want nothing. A lot of people are filing paperwork, but they're not getting it recording. That'll mean nothing, guys. You have to know what the heck you're doing. Again, if you don't know what you're doing, you can get yourself in trouble. And you're not looking to get in trouble. You're looking to stand in honor. You're looking to show that you have, standing, and you have you're in your proper status. Okay, and this is why I stress to people so much. It's very important to become a secure creditor. Okay, let's take that out of there. Okay, very important to become a secure creditor. Okay, and there's ways to know if you're an SPC, because I speak to people and they don't even know. They think they're a secure creditor, but when they're not, So how to tell you're a secure party creditor and how to tell you're not. Well, sometimes people get confused again as to whether or not they are secure party creditors. To just file a UCC1 does not make you a SPC. Okay? Here's how to tell whether or not you're a secure party creditor at a glance. So, for example, if you're an SPC, you filed your SPC package with the Secretary of State where you reside, filed with the Secretary of Treasury in Washington, D.C., and filed with the Secretary of Treasury in Puerto Rico. So your package consisted of the common law copyright, Form 56, W-8 ban, cover letter, and notices, just to name a few off the top of my head, okay? So if you have not done this, you are not a secure party creditor, okay? And if you don't know if you're a secure party creditor or not, then that shows me and tells me you're not studying. You're not really educating yourself and becoming knowledgeable as you should, because if you're an SPC, you would definitely know, okay? But there are specific, documents that need to be filed, recorded, and whatnot. Okay, so becoming a secure party creditor opens up, so many benefits for you as it separates you from the public into the private, which creates a superior lien against you and your debtor, which is your ens legis, your all caps straw man. Okay, and the abilities to discharge debt via the promissory note or negotiable instrument and more. See, because in law, it matters how they see you. Because right now they have people listed as infant decedents. We have to come forth and change our status. Very important, guys. I really hope for people to become more knowledgeable on why it's important to become a secure party creditor, and you have people that have different opinions about that. Okay, and it all comes down to no one's right, no one's wrong. It's what you feel comfortable with. You see, because if you go to an agency and you're needing something from that agency, as an example, a passport, okay, and you're looking to travel, and you're wanting to not use, you don't, you're looking to do it as a real living man and woman, not as your ens legis, your all caps straw man, your fictional entity. But most of the time, they're going to ask you for your social security, okay? And if they ask you for that and deny you, well, guess what? If you would have been better prepared, you would have had standing, you would show them that, look, this is who I am and this is who I'm not, okay? And then you have case laws to back up why they need to provide you with your passport as a American citizen, as a state citizen. All depends on how you want to go about with your status and your standing. Again, it all comes down to what is your status and what is your standing. Okay, because if you have no status and you have no standing, then they're gonna see you as someone that's incompetent, does not know how to handle their personal and private affairs. And another thing, a lot of people are mixing private and with public and public and private and whatnot, and you don't want to do that. You want to be able to to either use public or private, not mix both public and private. You have people who are wanting to tap into the DTC, want to tap into the Treasury, and they want to receive direct deposits from the Treasury, because what happens is so many people, they get involved and they hear about the sovereignty, they hear about becoming a secure creditor, and they don't do the secure creditor way. They do the most quickest way. They want to go and find out how to get money immediately, instead of being able to first think of how they can discharge their debts, their student loans, their mortgages, their car loans. you know they want to just go immediately and receive funds, and they'll do certain types of paperwork, okay, and many do get money back, okay. But what happens, they're getting that money back deposited, direct deposited, right into their personal ens legis, all caps straw man account, checking, savings account, whatnot. And they're mixing what? They're mixing public and private, instead of having a private trust bank account set up, okay, and they separate themselves with their ens legis and them being the agent heir of their estate. Then you won't have that much you won't have more, you won't have problems as you would have when you're mixing public and private. Okay? Again, you have to know that they're not going to easily just give you the keys to the vault, even though you are the vault. Okay? They're not just going to hand you over the keys. It doesn't work like that. It's like you set up a trust account, a college fund for your child, but they can touch it when they hit 18 or 21. But are you going to give them the access to those funds when they're 6, 7, 8, 9 years young? I don't think so. They have to reach a certain age, and then a certain, and when they hit that age, you already are hoping and assuming they're gonna have some sort of level of competency. And if they don't, then you're gonna change the age. Maybe they can't tap into those funds until they're 25, and they've hit a certain goal. They had to have accomplished something. It's the same thing. What's happening with people is they want to tap into to their accounts, but they don't know how to separate public and private. They don't know what an ens legis is. They don't know what an all caps straw man is. Okay? They don't know how to file grievances. They don't know how to file affidavits. They don't realize that their birth certificate is a mortgage. Their license is a mortgage. Okay? I believe there's 3 SF forms that you put together to create the mortgage. I think it's the bid bond, payment bond, and performance bond. Okay, Patrick Devine and Gene Keating talk about this all the time. You know, there's so much out here for you guys to learn, and that's the reason why Aware is working nonstop, okay, to bring not only accurate, accurate, factual information, okay, but they're doing it so that people have no excuses to say, oh, I didn't know this, or I didn't know that. The information is out there. You see, what makes Aware a bit different than other communities, other ecosystems out there is that they strive to give you 100% great customer support, satisfaction, okay? Even if you're donating or not donating, no one person is left without a response. No email will go unresponded to. Unless you're being rude and disrespectful, then you're not going to get a response back. Okay? I guarantee you that right now, because that's the thing that Aware has had to learn, that the people who are not grateful, who are not appreciative, who are not respectful do not deserve to be responded to. And me being someone who has worked in the internet arena, being a researcher for over 20 years now, I can tell you something that has impacted my life was the attitude of gratitude. The attitude of gratitude has changed my mindset, my life, my ability to grow and prosper. And if you do not have the attitude of gratitude, you will not grow and prosper, and you're not going to have great quality people around you or in your life. Okay? That's why I love and respect the entrepreneurs of the world, because they make the world go round. Okay? This is why it's so important for people to become knowledgeable of the law, to become knowledgeable of health, okay? And this has so much to do with prosperity, abundance, growth, advancement in one's life when you incorporate law and health, because in my opinion they go hand in hand. It's a combination of a great mixture together that will give you a much better prosperous life if you just take control of your own health, of your own life, and not allow or continue to allow systems that have been put in place to just keep you down and keep you ignorant. There comes a time in a life when one has to wake up and become more aware and realize what they have been taught and told from so early on has been a lie. Okay? This is why I stress to everyone, don't believe anything that Aware says or any other eco or communities out there. You can take the knowledge and the information, then you do your own research. How do you do research? Well, you get yourself a law dictionary. My favorite, Black's Law Dictionary, written by Brian A. Garner, pocket size, 4th edition. Okay? Get yourself that dictionary. It's awesome. There's a package, a bundle package that Aware is coming out with, where they're going to be giving out Black's Law Dictionary, pocket size, 4th edition, and also a complete UCC book written by Aware, its paralegals, and the young millennials, okay, over at Aware. Now, I'm not wanting to make this webinar that long, but I will say this before I do. Wish everyone a beautiful evening, okay, is that just know that success does not and may not come easy for you. But if you stay persistent, you stay on course, okay, you stay committed, you respect the other people who are teaching this knowledge, because there are many people who are teaching out there. But keep in mind, there are a small select few also who are teaching misinformation. And when I see people teaching misinformation, that leads me to believe they can be government shills, okay? They can be informants spreading fake news, okay? This isn't rocket science. You know, the information, the knowledge is out there. When people try to laugh at the term straw man, it's a joke on them, okay? Because they're like, that doesn't exist, that's fake. I say immediately, go get yourself a Black's Law Dictionary, 4th edition, pocket size, page 720, and look up the term straw man yourself. But even if you give people the information and the knowledge and you show them and they still laugh, the joke is not only on them, but the ignorance and the misinfo that they have in their mindset immediately can show you who they really are. Okay? You have people who don't even believe in any of this, okay? And they're the ones who would not progress and succeed in life. Why? Because they haven't taken the time out to go do their own research, to go pick up a book and read for themselves before making a statement that it doesn't work or this is not true or actual and factual. You see, because the laws are out there, okay? You can go to Cornell Law, great site for information. But the information, the knowledge is out there. Maybe it may take you a bit time to search it, to find it. Maybe you just need certain keywords, but it's going to take you some dedication. It's going to take some commitment. And many people are not willing to commit. They're not willing to dedicate time and researching for themselves, but they're quick to tell you that this is fake or this information is not true. Okay, the ones who say this isn't true or this sounds too good to be true are the ones who are not willing to fight for their own freedom. And these are the people who are very dangerous in a society. You see, we have to know that we have the power, okay? Not the other way around. Governments and corporations don't have power over real men and women. I hope you guys enjoyed this short webinar. I thank you once again to everyone who's joined us tonight. If you have any questions, the chat will be made available for the next 15 minutes. If you have a question that requires a more in-depth response, you can email us at info@areweallreallyeducated.com, and your email will be responded to in the order which it was received. Keep in mind, As long as you come in respectful, you come in honor, non-combative, Aware will give you 100% satisfaction guaranteed. I get it that a lot of people are frustrated out there, especially coming from other ecosystems, other communities where they didn't get remedy. Maybe they didn't get remedy because they did not follow up when they didn't get a response back from their paperwork that was filed or recorded, etc. Just keep in mind that if you stay on course and you stay persistent, and it may seem as if and nothing is working for you, just know one thing is guaranteed. If you continue to study and you continue to learn, this is not only going to become so much more easier secondhand for you, but you're going to be able to see it firsthand for yourselves. I'll give you a quick testimonial before I do leave, and I think it's very important for people to hear about this testimonial. Why? Because it just shows you the power, not only in the paperwork, okay, when you record your paperwork, but the power that one can have when one knows who they are and who they're not. Okay, this quick testimonial, I'll keep this real quick, and we're about 26 minutes in. I'm gonna try to keep this less than 33 minutes. Okay, one of Aware's customers, family members, I like to call everyone here, we're all family, just helping each other for the greater cause, right? One of the gentlemen, I'm not going to mention their name, came to Aware back last year, had some child support issues, ex-wife, baby mama drama situation going on. Came to Aware, paralegals prepared some paperwork, of course, because the child support, the the divorce decree, it was it's a mess for this gentleman in regards to his legal issues, and the courts being involved in his life and his personal life and whatnot. Ex-wife wants 100% total custody. Came to us, consulted with me personally a few times, filed the paperwork, got it recorded. Child support is voluntary. He knows this. Didn't know this before. We put all the case laws there and whatnot. Long story short, just recently the court granted the wife, mind you, the gentleman is not a party. He's not consenting. He's putting it on the record, letting them know that he's not consenting to the courts. Courts have no subject matter jurisdiction. He's a private man doing private business. They also attempted to do a wage garnishment last year. He had gotten a new job as well. We filed some paperwork for him. Wage garnishment never happened. Okay, wage garnishment never happened. Once the paperwork got filed, they just never garnished his wages. Okay, why? Well, I'm gonna assume highly because I know law. I know the paperwork that the paralegals prepared. I know the game. I know the system. I know how it all works. Believe it or not, they don't want to be sued. These agencies, these courts, these magistrates, these judges, these clerks, these attorneys, these lawyers, these prosecutors, they do not want to be sued. Okay? Okay? Many people think that they cannot defeat the banks, they cannot defeat these government officials. That is not true. Okay? When you know who you are and who you're not, you're going to have remedy. Maybe you don't get the remedy immediately like you want it, but life is not like you want it, okay? We're all on a personal journey, and maybe your karma is much more thicker than the next man or woman. The paperwork got filed, no garnishments took place. He lasted at his job for like an extra 8 months, and then I believe he quit. No longer at the job. He's an entrepreneur now, okay? Working from home and whatnot. So they never garnish his wages. Then the courts, we file paperwork with the courts, going back and forth with them. Of course, they're gonna dance. They're not gonna give up easy, guys. That's one thing you gotta realize. Okay, they're not gonna give up easy. Many will, many are not. So his wife, the courts, and I'm gonna rewind this real quick. He had a situation where the courts even committed fraud. The magistrate signed his divorce, signed his signature. So there was a lot of fraud going on here. Okay, just to share this with you. If I was to take the time out and really share the story, you guys would not believe it, but you guys would be very pumped up because you'll be able to realize what's going on and how they're more afraid of us than we are of them. But I'm gonna get you there quickly. So what happened was they granted the wife full custody, and he says you guys got no jurisdiction over him. Of course, the paperwork got filed, his power of attorney, his DBA, I believe his copyright, okay, and so they gave this happened on, let's say, on a Tuesday. They gave him, he didn't appear, whatnot, because his paperwork talked for him. And we're going to bring him on to do his own testimonial. Okay, guys? I'm just trying to make this as quick as possible. We're going to bring him on the court real soon because it's a very powerful testimonial. So they gave custody on the court date on a Tuesday, let's say. That same day, he took the child from school. So that will be considered kidnapping. She called the police and said, look, this is what happened. In another scenario, that would be considered kidnapping. But he's the father. He has power of attorney, by the way, of both his children. He also has their birth certificates as well, okay? So he is standing in honor. He knows who he is and knows who he's not. He's not a party to that contract over at child support. He's let them know already. He's already notified them, okay? And let them know that he's going to be proceeding with a tort claim. Okay, very powerful. If you have not done any tort claims against any of these cases that you have in your life, tort claims are very powerful. We're going to be sharing a webinar real soon on tort claims and how you can file your tort claims and even get compensated back. But again, I want people not to focus on getting any money back. Learn how to discharge your debts. That's first and foremost. So anyway, so guess what happened? He never got hit with no kidnapping. Okay, never got he didn't get in trouble. 2 weeks had lapsed. The mom, his ex-wife, went back. He took one of the kids. They have 2 kids together. She has one of them. He was able to get one of the kids from school. Okay, the cops can intervene. They say this is a civil matter. They told her they don't want to intervene because they know they'll get sued. You see what happens? But had he not filed his paperwork, had he not be standing in his private capacity, okay, have a trust already set up, a secure party creditor, he would have been arrested, okay, for kidnapping. It doesn't matter if that's his son. People are getting charges for kidnapping their own children. Okay, they're not. She called the cops on him. The cops are like, they don't want nothing to do with this. Okay, he contacted the gentleman, our client contacted the sheriff, letting the sheriff know his standing, putting his paperwork, his UCC1s, putting it all on the record, letting the courts, the state and the county know of his standing. Okay, and they did not arrest him. They have not arrested him. He still has his child, and his ex-wife went to the house, broke in the house, which they lived together, but she no longer wants the house. So she was hit with trespassing, aggravated assault as well. She assaulted him and everything. So how is that going to make her look in court when she tries to defend herself? And keep in mind, she supposedly has full custody of the children, but he's not caring what the courts say because they have no subject matter jurisdiction, no jurisdiction over his children, okay, of his kids. So what does that tell you, guys? That tells you that the paperwork is powerful. That tells you that when you know who you are and who you're not, these corporations, these courts can't touch you. They can't do anything to you, okay? Because if his paperwork was not filed and he would have used an attorney or lawyer, he would have been arrested for child kidnapping, okay? Please comment in the chat about that, because that to me is very powerful. And he was still like, wow, I can't even believe what's going on. I'm waking up, I'm feeling amazing every day. I'm feeling like, I've never felt before. He's so grateful for Aware. He's got the attitude of gratitude. And the reason why I share this story, even though I said I was only going to share it for 33 minutes, we're into 35 minutes. I'll cut it off at 40 minutes and that's it. All right, guys? Goes to show you that these courts have no subject matter jurisdiction. They may have jurisdiction, okay, sure, whatever, but when it comes down to subject matter jurisdiction, they don't have that unless you give it to them, okay? Unless you expressly give it to them, unless you go in there and you're understanding, you never want to be under their stand. And they use all these words and these terminologies. But either way, when he's gotten to court and went into court and defended himself, sui juris in propria persona, okay, acting as the agent heir of his state, of his all caps, ens legis strawman name, okay, he's left there before he thought he was gonna get arrested, because in his, again, it's a very messy situation that he was involved with in before, okay. But either way, he's having his success. He's having his victory, okay? He's dealing with a situation where it's child support and ex-wife, mama, baby mama drama, and he's winning. He's getting his victories, and he's seeing it. And he's someone that's just started learning about this. He had learned about this knowledge with Patrick Devine, when Patrick Devine was around, okay. He was on the calls and he was listening, he was learning, he was educating himself, he was taking the time to gain the knowledge, okay. And he's gotten the courage now where he didn't have the courage, he would admit. And that's why we're gonna bring him on a special testimonials call and have at least 2-3 more testimonials. That way you guys, the new listeners, the previous listeners, the people that were listening to Patrick Devine before, that are now coming to Aware, because Aware is providing all of Patrick's calls, his paperwork, all free if you go to WeThePeopleShareholders.com. Please, not to be confused with We the People Shareholders Yahoo group. There's no affiliation with the Yahoo group whatsoever. All due respect to the Yahoo group, but there is no affiliation with that group. This is, again, WeThePeopleShareholders.com. Okay, WeThePeopleShareholders.com. You can go sign up for free, and we also have a paid subscription, but you sign up for free and you can get all of Patrick's files, his paperwork, and his recordings. And there's a lot more files and so much more paperwork. That site is being worked on. Again, there's a lot of work going into providing this type of knowledge and this type of information. There's a lot of work, believe it or not, okay? So I want to thank you guys for listening in this evening, for taking your time out of your very busy schedule, especially on a day like this, okay? And I thank you for being here with us. But as a final note, just know that the power is in your paperwork, yes, but the power is going to be also you knowing what the paperwork entails, and you knowing who you are and who you're not. Because when you know who you are and who you're not, does not matter if they say your paperwork is bogus, this is not gonna work here or whatever, and they try to give you any negative flack or any information that's gonna try to deter you. It does not matter, because when you know who you are and who you're not, and you know how to separate public and private, and you know how to react and respond when they don't react and respond to your paperwork, okay? When you know how to follow up, then you're gonna have your remedy. You're gonna have your successes, okay? You're gonna achieve your freedom. But just know that it may take some time for you to comprehend all of this because it is a lot. And this may sound kind of bogus to so many. But just know that case laws are there for you and anyone to have access to. And this is why it's important to read, continue to learn, and educate yourself. Be bold, be courageous, and know that through persistence, okay, and being able to stay on course with all of this, probably new information for many of you, and finding an ecosystem, a community, a study buddy, someone who you can learn with, who's not going to think you're crazy because they've never heard of this information, but yet they think it's not true, which in actuality it is true, but they don't believe it is. Then you don't want to be around those type of people. And many of us have significant others that may not believe in this, may not know what this is all about. This is why it's important to know what type of relationship do you have. Do you have a healthy relationship with your significant other? Or is it a relationship where they're draining you? They're energy vampires. So no matter if you share the information with them and you show them the laws and they still don't believe, then you're in a bad situation. Straight up. All due respect. There are people, friends and family in your life today that are toxic. You know they are, but you don't want to do anything about it. And if you don't want to do anything about it, you should not complain. Same thing applies with people when it comes to things like awakening. Okay? The information is out there. But if they don't want to learn and they're not ready for the awakening, there's nothing that you can do. Just let them be and study on your own or find a study buddy. Okay? But do not try to show this to someone who lacks the mindset to even listen to what you have to say and be appreciative and grateful that you're sharing it with them. Because you don't need energy vampires in your life when you're empowering and you're growing and you're transforming and changing your life for the better. And all they want to do is be energy vampires. I promise you, when you get rid of energy vampires, your lives will change. Does not matter if you have no one to speak to about this. Just do your very best on educating and learning every single day. And the ones who don't believe, just don't share with them. Because eventually one day they will see this to be true for themselves, or they will no longer be in your life. I wish you guys all the very best. Once again, the chat will be open for the next 15 minutes. I thank you for listening in this evening. I am Emilio. I am with Aware, areweallreallyeducated.com. I'm one of their consultants. So if you need a consultation, you can get a consultation with any of our amazing consultants over at Aware. Or if you're looking for a consultation with myself, Emilio, then please contact info@areweallreallyeducated.com. Have them send you the consultation link, and you can get a 30 to 60-minute consultations. For anything longer than that, it'll have to be broken up into increments because myself am very busy. And I thank you guys for being here. Peace and blessings to everyone, and stay aware. Peace.
durch des Himmels prächtigen Blau laufen